early, but that's okay. I'll let everybody join in. Give everybody a couple minutes to join in and say hello when you get here. Somebody's watching, but it doesn't tell me who. I don't know why it shows me sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of weird. When you hop on, say hello, hello, hello. Hands are cold this morning again. They're freezing. Give everybody a couple minutes to hop in and then we'll go over what we need for today. It's kind of a lot, not crazy. Maybe with that, we don't want that going off in the middle of our video. Oh, I gotta grab a popsicle stick. Oh, I forgot. Grab a few. Oh. Grabbed a few. I really wish Facebook would let us have music on our videos. I'm a music person. I mean, I get it, but it would be nice. Let's see here. I know Linnell is not going to be on this morning. She's driving. Actually, she's coming here to see me. My sister's on her way. On her way, on her way. And check with my other one. Check with Teresa. Check with her, see if she's going to be on today. Because if not, then I'm going to go ahead and just get started. Because I don't want y'all to have this random weird, like we've already been live for 4 minutes, and I don't want y'all to have to fast forward for 4 minutes. Seems odd. I know that they say don't wait for everybody to join, but I'm like, when we're doing it along together, I kind of need to let people join me. If I was just popping in, just doing something, and y'all could choose to follow along or not, then I would understand just going ahead and starting, but I don't want to leave y'all behind when y'all are supposed to be following along with me if you want to. for a response. I am gonna go ahead and kind of explain what we're doing today. Oh, I didn't realize I had some of that. I was cleaning off the pole earlier, or trying to at least, and some of that got on my cup. Alright. A little bubble there. So make sure you don't have any bubbles or any lifting spots in your tumbler. And any like little overspray, if your tape wasn't, or if your stencil wasn't down good enough and it went underneath it, just kind of take and scratch those off. Let's see. Okay, I think that got it all. And it's kind of hard to see, but I did use a tiny bit of my twinkle whenever I epoxied over that, in case y'all didn't know that. I did, so it's a little sparkly inside there. But I didn't want it to be too sparkly. I don't want it to take away from the glitter and stuff that we're fixing to put in there, so. Okay. Alright, well we're gonna go ahead and get started. Ooh, I really need to glue that one. I like these, but some of them are just loose and they just come off, so I'm gonna put that one up there. Okay. So for this first bit, what we're gonna do is first we're gonna start by filling in our snow globe portion. Okay, alright, I didn't know. Perfect. So first we're gonna start by filling our snow globe. So you're gonna need your butterflies. You should have gotten 2 jars of butterflies. And as far as like how much you want to put in yours, it's totally up to you. This one I didn't put as much as I did in the original one that I made, because the original one I couldn't see the insides or the bottom anymore, so it was kind of hard for me to tell, and it kind of was just like too much, so I didn't put as much in this one as I did the other one. But we're gonna do that first. So it's up to you if you want to put 1 jar, both jars, a jar and a half a jar, whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. But you'll need your butterflies, and then you'll need some sort of mixing container. You'll need your glycerin. This is the kind that I get from Walmart. This is the one I posted in our group. And then you'll need distilled water to mix it with, or Two Moms Craft Shack actually has an already pre-mixed solution that you can do if you want to. They have original, fast flow, and suspended. I like the suspended. This came in my TumblerCon VIP bag, so I have it up here, but I have it at home. Like I bought one of their big bags, big bottles, because I like it already mixed. And I like the suspended one. So you can kind of see the suspended one. It doesn't flow super fast, which is kind of what I prefer. It will eventually all settle kind of to the bottom, because like where I've had it laying down, you can see where a lot of it settled on the back from where I had it right here. But I like the suspended version just because I like mine to kind of stay hanging out a little more instead of just all going up or around and then falling to the bottom. So that's my personal preference. It's up to you how fast you want yours to flow. You can also manage the flow if you're creating your own by how much glycerin you put. The more glycerin, the slower the flow. The less glycerin, the faster the flow. You don't, however, want to use just glycerin, because then you won't have any flow. You won't be able to mix it. It won't flow. It won't move. It'll just be like and just clumped wherever it falls. It doesn't like to mix very well. Hello, Teresa. Hi, Dee. So you want to make sure and mix some glycerin and some distilled water, but how much exactly is kind of up to you. You can play with it and see which flow you like. Like I said, I like the suspended flow so it doesn't fall and just, go back to the bottom as fast. So I like to use a little more glycerin in mine than usual. So I also like to use this measuring cup. It's got the little pouring spout thing on it. So my personal preference, you can do, like I said, whatever you want to do. It's your cup. But here's the basics. So I'm going to start by going ahead and putting some of my butterflies in my tumbler. There are so many different ways that you can do this, that people do this, and I say the way I do it is not the right way to do it for everybody. I'm going to show you how I do it, and then you can play around with how it best works for you. I like pouring some of my glitter on the inside, whether it's shapes or chunkies. I don't recommend using a fine glitter or really even a medium glitter. It really should be more of a chunky or a shape or something, just because the fine glitters tend to clump instead of like actually flowing. They just have like little ball clumps that just kind of plop around in the inside. So I recommend a shape or a chunky on the inside, and like I said, I always pour some of my shapes or chunky glitter inside first. This tumbler actually has a lip inside of it, so I'm not going to do a paper and tape the paper around. Plus you have to be really careful taping over this because it's not sealed yet. But typically if I do one of the acrylic ones that doesn't have this like little indent, I'll take me a piece of paper, just regular copy paper, and some painter's tape, and I'll tape it on, so that way I have a little bit of a lip to pour and kind of control and make sure it doesn't go everywhere. But we're going to start by putting some of our butterflies in. So grab one of your jars of your butterflies. Yep, this one has the inside. And your tumbler. And then we're going to get started. Grab me a drink right quick. Okay. So, super simple. We're going to pour this in. Take it off my stand, so I have a little bit more control. I like to have my hole kind of at the bottom and angled a little bit whenever I pour, because then it's making those butterflies go all the way to the bottom, or automatically to the bottom, instead of just clumping up here on the top. Okay, so I kind of angle it a little bit, and I just slowly pour my butterflies in. If it starts to clump, kind of like that, kind of straighten it back up a little bit, give it a little tap, push these guys in, give it a shake, push the rest of these in, give it a shake. And then you just kind of repeat. Again, it's up to you how much you put in yours. Whether it's 1 jar, 2, or half a jar, or a jar and a half. It's up to you. I don't know how many of you have the same glitter at home already, like in the bottle that it comes in. This is Flutterby by Starcraft. It's just shaped butters mixed with a kind of like a chunky mix. Mine, for whatever reason, I've got some static cling going on, so it's wanting to cling to the side instead of fall down, but that's okay. Ooh, too much at once. Come back here, butterflies. Cassie from Two Moms. She did a video on rinsing glitter with like alcohol before you put it in a snow globe, and she says that it helps it not be so static, clingy, and clump. I have not done that yet, but I have seen her do it, and it looks like it worked pretty well. So if you have a glitter that you know is staticky and doesn't want to spread well in your snow globe, you might want to try it. Like I said, she's Two Moms Craft Shack. Well, her and her significant other, Two Moms, hence the name of the business. But they have a video that you can look at and take a look and follow. But all right, so I think that's probably good for me. I don't really want a whole lot because I don't want it to take away from what we've got going on the inside. But you can kind of see in my video or in my camera here, it's basically just making a rim around this bottom of butterflies. So this is kind of where it's like clumped. It like static clung, but we'll take care of that in a second when we put our liquid in. We'll mix the liquid around there. Go ahead and get your butterflies in. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know when you have the butterflies that you want in there, and then we'll move to the next step. I'm gonna clean up all my loose little droplings here while y'all do that. Oh, my little butterflies. Oh, dropped them. Oh, one more. There we go. It's kind of staticky this morning. I'm not sure what's going on, if it's the weather or what exactly, but grab my trash can, bring it over here a little closer to me. Alright, so how's it going? Getting them in there? My hands are so cold today. Done. Awesome. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set that to the side for a second. And I'm going to mix up my snow globe mixture. I start out with 5 ounces. And on this jar, or on this measuring cup, it's got all different ones, but this is my 5 ounce mark. What I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with 3 ounces of glycerin and then do the 2 ounces of the distilled water. This is a 6 ounce bottle, so that mixture does make 2 snow globes with this bottle. Let's see if this bottle is open. It is not. New bottle of glycerin and new bottle of distilled water today. And then I usually have one of these on hand. It's just a squeeze bottle. This still has some mixture from when I made a snow globe last, so I just leave it in this little squishy squeeze bottle, and I'll use that first, and then I will pour in this new mixture. Alright, so I've got 3 ounces of glycerin, just half the bottle. Okay, set that back to the side. Open up my distilled water today. Be careful and try not to make a mess because it's full. Alright. And then 2 ounces of distilled water. Make sure it's distilled water, not drinking water, not plain faucet water, distilled water. And then you can kind of see the separation of the two. So you've got your oil at the bottom, and you can see where your water is trying to mix in the bottom here. Let me see, I'm going to get it a little closer. See if you can kind of see. So that's going to separate because oil and water don't like to mix. But when you start mixing, you're going to see it all kind of gets like stringy looking. And you want to mix until it's clear, until it looks like it's just water. You can kind of see it start mixing all together. And then you'll see it get clearer and clearer. Instead of stringy looking, it'll start to look like it's just water. Gonna give it a little scrape around the edges. Finish mixing that was stuck to the edges in. And you can see how it clears up. And this is what we're going for. We want it clear. And that's how we know it's done, okay? So let me know when you've got your mixture done. You can either give me a thumbs up or say done or whatever. Whatever works for you works for me. Sorry, y'all. My nose is like runny this morning. My hands are freezing. I don't know what's going on. It's been so hot here lately. Like, we've been needing to weed eat. I've been needing to weed eat my backyard. Done. Yay. I mean, it's been so stinking hot. Like, I literally was out there weed eating last night at 9:30 at night. Just so it's cool enough for me to be able to handle being out there. Crazy, huh? Alright. Got it on my finger. Okay. So, I recommend you having a squeeze bottle if you have one. I would recommend putting your mixture into a squeeze bottle. If not, that's okay too. There's these little funnels that you could use if you needed to. If you have a funnel, or however you choose to put your mix in. I know I included the little stir sticks. I don't think I included a funnel in y'all's kit. I know I included the little mica powder spoon, but I don't think I included a funnel. So, however you want to do it, I prefer this method with my little bottle here. Take my cap off. And like I said, this still has the exact same mixture in it. It's just what I had mixed up for a cup previously that I did. So, we're going to use it first. And what I do again is I tip my cup to the side, where my hole is down here, and I just start squeezing this into there. Now, I will tell you, I do not fill it all the way full first, okay? I like to get some in here. Yeah, so I've got to about here, and then I take and kind of shake it up. I want my butterflies to get good and mixed in with that glycerin mix instead of being clumped around the bottom, well, technically the top, but around the rim of the cup, okay? Because if you just fill the whole thing and then you're trying to shake it all up, it's going to take forever. Because at that point you really don't have room for those butterflies to move around and really mix in with the glycerin mix. So I just kind of create myself a little rim of the mixture, shake it around, and then you can see whenever they're good and mixed in there, then you can start pouring in more of your mix. And Teresa, I know you're on today with Miss Mia, and I know I know that you've done snow globes, so if you have any questions, let me know, but I know that you know what you're doing. We've done them together, you did them on your own, and all that fun stuff, so let me know if you have any questions. Alright, so now I'm going to pour my new mix in my squeeze bottle, because I've already used what was in my bottle. And I think this bottle's only 4 ounces, so it won't fit all of my mixture. I just kind of fill it up, and then once I use what's in here, I'll fill it up again with the rest of that in the cup. Try to keep it off of the outside of your cup. Try to keep it where it's just inside your cup though, because it is going to leave like a greasy residue. The glycerin is really greasy, it's oily. So try to do your best not to get the glycerin mix on the outside of your cup. Okay, and then whenever it's about halfway full, well, I went a little over half, but you can kind of see my water line is here. See where my butterflies are kind of hanging out. Again, I will take and shake it up. Just kind of give it a whirl, I just want to make sure that everything's getting nice and mixed and blended in there. I don't want any clumps of butterflies left at the bottom. Clumps of glitter if you're using glitter. Don't want any clumps left behind on the bottom, because once you fill this up, you do leave a little bit of an air bubble, which I will show you as we get there. But the fuller it gets with the liquid mixture, the harder it gets to get all of this combined, okay? So about halfway full, stop, mix it up again. Okay, and then it's kind of reaching this bottom piece. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill up my bottle one more time. With the last bit of mixture here. Swirly whirl. Okay. Now once I get to the bottom, which is about my level right now is about to the bottom of where that sleeve on the inside or that piece on the inside is. Whenever I get about there, you will see me turn my cup the other way, okay? So I'm going to give it just a little shaky shake before I move on, but everything looks like it's moving really well. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it the other way. Okay, my hole now is at the top and not the bottom. The reason for that is because now we want to fill it up to where we're just left with a small air bubble right here that can move throughout the cup to give us the movement and things like that to kind of help easier mix up a little bit. So I turn it to where my hole now is at the top, and you're just going to slowly fill it up. See if I can move you can see how it's filling up. And I just slowly fill it and let that air bubble rise to where the hole that I'm filling it through is at the top there. Okay. Let's see. So now my air bubble, see if I can tilt it without making a mess. My air bubble comes right across here. So it's got this whole thing as an air bubble. I want it to be a little smaller. I literally just want an air bubble right around the hole. So I'm going to carefully fill just a little bit more. Okay. Okay. So I'm hoping y'all can see. my air bubble. It's literally just right there, okay? And that's what you want to go for. You don't want a giant air bubble, but you don't want a teensy tiny little air bubble either. So you want to fill it until you have about that size of air bubble left, okay? That over there. Put my cap on here. If you're using, measuring cup and things that you typically use in the kitchen, make sure you wash them really well. Like I said, this does have an oily texture to it, and it will leave things oily. I only use that measuring cup for snow globes. Like literally that's the only thing it gets used for, so I don't really have to ever worry about it. I'll rinse it out with some hot water and put it in the cabinet. It'll be fine. But if you're gonna cook with it, or if you're gonna measure something with it for your kitchen, make sure you really wash it with dishwashing soap and rinse it and dry it really good. Okay. You looking good? Alright, Teresa said done. Y'all are on it, on it, on it. It helps that you've done snow globes before, so that works. Okay, so now we're going to grab our UV resin, our UV light, and our stopper plug that I told y'all not to lose the other day. I put mine in my box, so I'm going to grab it. This little black stopper plug that comes in there that we took out. So that little stopper, our UV resin, and a UV light. I'm going to be using this UV light today. It's the one that I like. It's the one that I recommend. It's a really strong, good UV light. If you were on with us last time we went live in part 2, I believe it was, I did announce to y'all that I am linked with Amazon now, an Amazon affiliate. So I have my link that y'all can go through to buy things, and it also helps me kind of have everything in one place of the things that I use and recommend. So it is on there. It's linked on the page. My Amazon store link is. So this is on there if y'all want to get one. I really love those. And then tumbler shields makes an actual like stand for it if you want to stand it up to do something. Today I'm just going to hold it because it's kind of tall and the stand isn't tall enough, but they do make it if you're like turning something on your turner. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this plug, and the part that has a hole in the bottom is the part that goes in, okay? So I kind of squish mine a little bit and kind of put it into that hole, and then kind of just squish it around. You want to get it in there to where it's nice and flat inside the hole and sealing that hole off, okay? So get it in there. I'm gonna grab a wipe and a paper towel because I can see on the bottom of it, you don't want it to be, like you don't want it to be oily from that glycerin mix. You don't want that oily surface right there. So I'm gonna just grab a little disinfectant wipe. They all fell on the bottom. I'll grab those out in a minute. And I'm gonna clean off carefully. Don't try not to squish or tilt or turn, but just carefully go through and wipe off the bottom of your cup. You can use a disinfectant wipe. You can use alcohol and a paper towel if you don't have disinfectant wipes. But get that cleaned off. You don't want that oily mess on the bottom of your cup. Because if you leave that there, it's not going to seal right whenever we do the UV resin in just a second. So get it good and cleaned off. And then get it good and dried off. Okay. Alright. So now once you've got that done, what we're going to do is we're literally going to take our UV resin and we're going to fill in the bottom cavity of our snow globe. And I know that my UV resin looks a little weird. This is the Glitter Guy UV resin. It got super sticky on the outside, so what I did is I took and wrapped a paper towel around it, and then I used my painter's tape and taped the paper towel on, so that way if it gets nasty again, I can just take off the paper towel and put a new one on, and I don't have to worry about it getting all sticky yucky all over my hands. So that's why it looks a little weird, and it's almost out, so we're just gonna roll with it. But I will start and I just go around my little stopper. And with that little bit done, you can go ahead and you can fill in, or not fill in, but cure this right here now if you want to, or you can go ahead and fill this whole thing in, and I kind of just do like little half circles. And I just go all the way around my cup. If you see where you missed a spot, go back and get it. You want it filled all the way in, edge to edge, no holes. Give it a quick glance, make sure that it looks like it's going side to side, and then cure this. I'll cure it for a couple of minutes, typically. Golly, I hope that didn't leak. This weird bubble just started forming. We'll check it in a second. So at 11:10, nope. It has a bubble. Okay, hang on. Sometimes these stoppers will leak, and mine just did. So let's see here. See if I can clean this out and fill in this whole air bubble right here. Nope. Okay. It leaked up under my UV resin. See how I'm able to just pull this off? So my stopper started leaking. You can see where it was getting oily. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes the air wants to try to seep out from underneath this little stopper. If that happens, just do like I did, pull it off, clean it up. We'll get our stopper out, insert it again, and then we will seal it back up again. Sometimes I think they get a better hold than others. Sometimes those little lips just don't get all the way down in there like they need to either. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna do this again. Get this little thing down in there. Look at our ridges. happened because it just happened again. That little flap on the inside didn't want to go down. It just was kind of stuck there. And so it didn't go down to the other side of the tumbler. There we go. I think that got it. Okay. Take 2. But hey, it's okay. I'm glad it happened while we were live because it shows you how to fix things. And it also shows you I'm not perfect either. That's okay. I don't claim to be. I don't want to be. There's only one person who's ever been perfect in this world. And he no longer walks the earth, so I'm okay with not being perfect. Alright. So we're going to make sure that's down in there again. We're going to go back with our UV resin. And to prevent that this time, once I get around my little stopper here, I am going to go ahead, come on, and I'm going to cure right here around this little black stopper right quick. Not to let the tip of my UV resin bottle get up underneath the light because we don't want to cure it. Okay, let me check it. Yep, okay. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest of this and then we'll cure it all again. I am just using clear UV resin straight from the bottle, as you can see. Some people will mix glitter, some people will mix mica powders, and that's up to you for the finish you want on your cup. With me, I'm going to leave mine clear for this cup. I know you can see the black stopper, but I like being able to see all my butterflies floating around down there, so I will leave it clear. And then, whenever we epoxy this whole tumbler in a second, we will actually add some of that twinkle or golden twinkle in our epoxy mix, so that way it'll give it a little sparkle anyway, but not so thick and solid that you can't see the butterflies on the bottom. All going to level out over that first cure. I first cured that spot too. So, give that a second. Kind of an air bubble there. We don't want air bubbles. Pop any air bubbles. Don't leave big old air bubbles. You may have some tiny ones, and that's okay. If you have any big ones, pop them before you cure your tumbler. Okay. Alright. And then, now let's cure this again. Let's see, 11:14. So we're going to go to about 11:16. You want to make sure that it stays nice and flat, because if you have a bubble of epoxy or resin on the bottom, your cup won't sit flat. So you just want to fill it in flat up to the rim of that cup. Yeah, this is looking much better. I don't have any weird like bubbles happening like I did a while ago. Ooh, come back here. Give this another minute. It's really hot. I'll let it cool down just a minute and see if it's cured enough. It does get really hot with this light because this light is super powerful, and so it can get hot. So just be careful and don't overdo it, because over curing UV resin is just as bad as not curing it enough because it will start to separate. If it gets too hot and over cured, it'll start to like shrink and pull away from everything. Just gonna go about another minute. Maybe less. Okay, let's try that. I didn't get enough on that edge. Okay. Right there. I'm gonna fill in this edge over here because like it's still a pretty good indent on this edge over here. The one that was by me. I looked at the edge on the other side of me, facing the edge that was away from me, and it was good, but I didn't go back and look at the edge that was on my side. And if you have to go back and fill in like this, just make sure you're getting it level with everything else. Make sure that this doesn't make you have a bump or a hump on that part of your tumbler, okay? Even this out with the rest. And you may not need to do this, like literally it's just because I missed that whole like little divot on that side. I didn't turn it all the way around like I should have and look, I just looked at the edge opposite of me and it looked good, but I had a gap. Just do a thin layer around so it all blends. And then I'm going to take my popsicle stick I used a while ago and just kind of make sure that it all meets up together. Make sure I don't have any weird holes or anything. the second, the UV resin does tend to self-level. So as long as you've got it pretty spread out, it will kind of final level out itself. But sometimes if it's too big of a gap, it doesn't fill in before you decide to cure it, because I didn't see it. So, alright. One last time, and we will be good with this step. Okay. How's it coming, Teresa? How are y'all doing? Y'all doing okay? Getting it? Need a minute? Let me know. We're good. Awesome. Okay. Have y'all finished filling the bottom, sealing in the bottom with your UV resin? I probably did, since I had to go back and do mine, but you know. We're all good. It's all good. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Give this another minute and then we'll let it cool. So after this, what we're gonna do is, basically this now is ready to epoxy. The only thing that I will recommend is slightly sanding just the metal part of this cup up here, just this flat metal part. Just because we want something for the, want to have something for the epoxy to adhere to. Of course, I left a little tiny bubble right there, but it's okay. That'd be good. It'd be good. We just wanted to make sure that the epoxy is going to adhere nicely to this metal. Good there. Okay. So let me grab my sanding block. Okay, and then like I said, just this metal part here, just the light sand, just enough to rough it up a little bit to give that epoxy something to stick to, okay? I'm gonna go over my trash can instead of my workspace to do this. Just take it nice and slow so you don't scratch up your paint. Almost all the way around. There we go. Alright, then once you've done that, go ahead and clean that off. So you don't have any little sanding dust left in your, on your cup. We don't want cloudy epoxy. We worked way too hard on this to have cloudy epoxy at the end. Oh, they're all wanting to clump. What in the world? Okay, well, I don't know what's going on with my wipes, but we're gonna grab one for now and then we'll figure out the rest in a minute. Okay. Move the sanding block, grab my cup, and I'm just gonna lightly clean off the edge that we just sanded. And dry it off. little air bubble is sticking up further than I want it to. I don't want a tiny little air bubble that I can take care of right now to affect all my epoxy layers in a minute. So just carefully wipe that off. Dry that off. Perfect. All right, so now this guy is ready to epoxy, okay? And like I said, on your outside layer, you can use either your silver twinkle, you can use your golden twinkle. It is all up to you. You don't have to wait for anything on this bottom because we use the UV resin. It's automatically cured. Once you've cured it with the light, you're ready to move forward. So now we're going to go ahead and epoxy the outside of this. I'm going to use my silver twinkle just because that's what I used on the inside. Actually, I may change it up. I think I'm going to use a tiny bit of both. Why not? Why not? And for this one, I'm only going to mix up 20 mLs for the coat on this one. It is only a 20-ounce cup. I typically use, if it's a 20-ounce cup, I use 20 mLs. Unless it's raw glitter, then I'll use 30. If it's a 30-ounce cup, I'll use 30 mLs, even if it's raw glitter, only because that's how big my cup is. Sometimes I'm making that bad boy stretch. So typically my ounces of my cup is the mLs I use of epoxy. All right. Sweet. Get me some gloves. Always use your protective gear. Don't want anybody to have chemical burns on their hands or anything else for that matter. Always use your gloves. Where is, oh, duh. I was looking for my stir stick. It's on top of my turner. It's already been a long morning, y'all. Long morning. Okay. Grab my epoxy. Again, I'm using Mr. Nola's Fast Set. This is the one I prefer to use. I'm going to try a couple of other ones just to try them out that I've heard good things about. But right now, Mr. Nola's has been my tried and true go-to. And I love it. So, that one back there. This one. And then, before I start mixing, grab my gold and silver twinkle and my little spoon. And I'm just going to put a tad bit of the silver in there, maybe a tiny bit more. And a tad bit of the gold in there. And then we'll mix it up. Turn this guy on. Nope, I need you the other way. There we go. All right. Alexa, start a timer for 2 minutes, please.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good
2
morning.
minutes, starting now.
All right. Mixy, 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 mix. Not bad, not bad. Silver with a hint of gold. I'm okay with that. My butterfly spinnies are going to be on here, and they are gold. I think all mine that I left for myself are gold. But they came in a gold and silver pack. Kind of all mixed in together. I'm not mad at this. It's actually pretty cool because I'm not a gold person, but mixing the gold and silver together kind of make like a champagne gold. It's really pretty. I mix for 2 minutes. That's what NOLA's calls for. Make sure you follow the directions of your epoxy that you're using, whether it's a fast set or a regular set, whatever brand. Make sure that you follow your instructions. So I'm just following what I use for my NOLA's, and I do use the fast set. I make sure and scrape my sides, and then I also scrape off my stir stick kind of midway through, just to make sure it's all getting mixed in properly. And it looks pretty clear to me, so I'm going to go ahead and stop mixing so I don't get a bunch of micro bubbles. Ha! There we go. Alexa, stop. Gotten pretty good at gauging. Alexa, stop. Sometimes I still set my timer because sometimes I get distracted and I forget how long I've been stirring. Alright, so once you've got it all mixed up, go ahead and get it put on your cup and get it applied. Sorry, I'm standing up. I know that y'all are seeing kind of the top of my head, but I can't epoxy sitting down. I'm kind of glad I went rogue and did the mix of gold and silver. It did really make a pretty cool champagne-y gold color. Looks nice. Don't forget your bottom. Don't forget the butt. I know we did the UV resin on it, but we want to seal that UV resin in with regular resin or regular epoxy. UV resin is not food safe. And we want to make sure that the cup has a good seal all the way around with our regular 2-part epoxy. And I just kind of go over the whole cup and make sure that it's all covered, top to bottom. Make sure I don't have any weird clumpies, anything like that going on. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. more than I'm gonna throw away, so I'm gonna grab my mold that I used the other day, and we're gonna fill her up again. Sit down, see if I can scoop some of the remainder out of here to finish filling this up so I don't have a gap and actually get a full finished straw topper, half anyway, but it can go with the other half out of the other day. Perfect. Let that go ahead and drop on out. There we go. Alright. And put this in my hand. And there we go. I'll wipe off my stir stick. Oh, I can tell that I'm getting to the bottom of my wipes because they are soaking wet. Alright. Well, I should have wiped off my mat before I threw that in the trash, but alright. Okay. Again, I'm going to set this up here so I don't accidentally knock it over or knock something into it. I'm going to heat gun my cup right quick. I'm sorry if it gets a little loud. Don't forget your butt. Don't forget the butt. Alright. Okay. Teresa and Miss Mia, how are y'all doing? Are you epoxied? Let me know if your cup is epoxied. If you're epoxying right now, don't stop to do that. Just do that because I know it's a limited time. Let me know if you used, yes we are, cool. Did y'all use just the gold or just the silver, or did you do a mix like I did on the twinkle? Let me know. It'd be interesting to see what everybody does. Me use gold, I use silver. Okay, cool. That works. Awesome, awesome. So at this point, now what we need to do is we just need to let this epoxy cure. after this, I will probably do another coat of epoxy just to make sure I have a good coat of epoxy on this tumbler, over my vinyl decals and over my paint. Because sometimes if you just do one coat of epoxy over vinyl or paint, something's lifted, you can still fill it in the cup, and I don't like to be able to fill it. I like it to be smooth. So I will let this cure for my 2 hours that it requires for this epoxy, and then I will epoxy it again. And you can either choose to just do clear epoxy over this, or you can use your twinkle again this next time. You don't have to, because you've already got it on there, and I'm afraid if you add it again, it's going to be too concentrated and you'll get too much glitter on your cup, and it won't be like, the details will start to get a little more muddled. So the next layer, I would recommend just doing a clear layer in a couple of hours if that's what your epoxy does. And then after that, it literally is ready for the spinners. I'm going to go ahead and tell you how to do the spinners in case you want to do them yourself, but I will come on again. I'm going to try to come on again later today, possibly, if I can get mine cured and do the spinners on mine. But it's basically just like doing rhinestones. So the little silver, or the little gold spinner thing. Let me grab mine, hang on. So the gold spinner piece has a thick bottom and a thin little top, okay? So the thick bottom is what you would apply to your cup, just like a rhinestone. I mean, just a tiny, tiny drop of the, oh my gosh, it just left me. The glue you use for your rhinestones. I don't know why I can't think right now. But just a tiny drop on your tumbler, then you put this down. Make sure it's a tiny drop, because if you put too much, then you're not going to have your loose spinner part on the top. It's going to all be glued solid, okay? So just a tiny drop of glue that down, let that set, and then after that is set, then you can come back, you can put another tiny drop of glue on top of it, and then that's where you can put your butterfly, okay? So you put your butterfly on top of that, you let that cure, and once that's cured, you have your spinner charm on your cup. So, if you want to go ahead and do that after your epoxy is done and good and set, and nice and smooth how you want it, you can. Like I said, I will come back and do a live on it as well in a little while. I will try to get back on here today, but I've got to let this cure, and then I got to get another coat on here, because I like 2 coats over my vinyl on my tumblers. And then let that cure, and then I'll come back and do the spinners. Now, my next question is going to be about the keychain blank. Okay, so I included in y'all's kits, the ones that got kits, I included a keychain blank for y'all. It says DIY till I die. DIY till I die. So I want to do this with y'all. Do y'all want to do this now? Or do y'all need to take a break? And I can do a live just on that later. Just let me know if y'all want to do the keychain now or after a while. And if y'all want to do it now, that's fine. Just let me know. It doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do then, since I've got some time right now, we'll just go ahead and do it now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop this live and hop off. I'm going to get all of this moved over and out of the way. I'm going to run to the ladies' room. And then I'm going to get my stuff set up for my keychain, and then we'll come back and do it. So, what you'll need is literally the bag here that I sent y'all. You will need your UV resin light, and then for the back, you can use either the twinkle or the gold twinkle I sent you. You could use some butterflies for the back if you have any left, or you can use like literally any glitter you have. I know that all of us have way more glitter than we should, so you know, You could pick a glitter that matches the colors on the front of here, or like I said, you could use the gold or silver twinkle that I gave y'all, or butterflies. But have your keychain kit ready. UV resin, UV light, and whatever glitter you want to use. It is 11:46, so I'm going to get this cleaned off and moved out of the way. So let's go, let's say 12 o'clock, 12 noon Central Time, which is where I'm at right now. We will come back. I will have a live on just the keychain. That way, if anybody just needs the keychain, they're not having to fast forward through the cut part 2. So we'll do that at 12 o'clock. We'll come back. We'll do our keychain. It's not going to take super long, so it's, I'm going to say probably not even 30 minutes. I would say like 20 maybe. But we'll hop off. I'll get all that done, get this moved over, get ready, and then I'll hop back on at noon. So I will see y'all at 12 noon, which is in about 13 minutes. All right, bye y'all.